Welcome to Code Mantra's Accessibility Insight interview series. I'm Barry Bealer, Senior Vice President of Strategic Alliances at Code Mantra, and your host for today's session. This is segment 2 of 5. We're here today with Bill Kasdorf, an expert in accessibility for publishers and a member of several W3C working groups and the NISO Video and Audio Metadata Guideline Working Group. Bill's joined by my colleague Ian Smith, our Director of Accessibility Platforms and Solutions. Ian, from an assistive technology perspective, does a publisher need to be aware of the different assistive technologies on the market? And if so, is there anything in the remediation process that needs to be addressed in order to deliver appropriate content that is usable?
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. So knowledge of the different assistive technologies is definitely important. I would say equally, if not more so, though, is to understand how users of assistive technologies actually use them. Many, I think, believe that assistive technologies just read the content or the alternative text that's present. However, let's think a moment about how we consume content. Most of us, unless we're reading a novel for leisure, are seeking specific bits of information. The only way we achieve that is through the use of navigation. We skim a publication for the various parts and sections or headings until we actually find the portion of the publication that contains that information. Users of assistive technologies are no different. They also need to be able to skim, navigate, and traverse those sections of the document. So therefore, an important aspect is truly a well-defined structure and other navigational elements that aid them in those abilities.
So given the need for all publishers to make the publications accessible, Bill, can you explain who at the publishers even think about the consumption of the publisher's content and when assistive technology comes into the conversation?
Pretty much it doesn't, just to be honest. But people are increasingly thinking about this. Ian's points were exactly spot on. And one saving grace is that the way that you communicate that structure and enable that kind of navigation he was talking about is not some kind of specialized markup, but it's standard HTML markup. This is mainly focusing on EPUB 3. Same thing for PDF, but it's not quite as systematic in PDF. But for EPUBs, using good HTML markup, using it properly, using what's called ARIA markup, assistive technology is actually programmed to use those things. So for example, there's ARIA roles. You can't make up a role. You have to use one of the already defined roles because that's what assistive technology uses. And I see in my work all the time, because I do a lot of accessibility reviews for people, and it's like they make up terms and it's totally useless. So the publisher needs to understand that.